Oh, hello, hi everyone. Today I'm going to talk about how do I solve problems in an unorthodox pattern. So, today the problem I have is I have so many cards, I have so many banks, and I am not able to track all my transactions. Where does my money go? Where does it come in from? Well, I do know where it comes from, but um, where does it come from in this particular transaction, right? So I don't know how to keep track of all of this, and again, I do not want to give my data to third party services. So there are some apps who do this, so there are some companies who do this, but I don't want to give my data to them, right? So I want to do it myself because I can. So in this video I'm going to talk you through how I overcome this problem. It's a very simple problem if you think about it, but sometimes there are limitations around it that you need to overcome, and this is one of such problems. So I use an iPhone, so it's an iPhone 13, it uses iOS, and again, all the transactions, they always have a SMS, at least in India they do. They also have emails, but I find SMS more reliable in my sense. So we get transaction SMS every time there is anything that gets added to my balance or gets deducted from it. So for all the banks, for all the cards, I do get an SMS. And SMS are always available on the iOS, so the operating system always knows about it. And one obvious answer to this problem is, why don't you create an app that reads your SMS? Now, the problem with this is, again, I also thought of this problem myself and the solution as well, because this is the most obvious answer. Why don't you create an app that reads your SMS, that keeps track of it, and it's very simple. Yeah, I also thought so. The problem is that iOS doesn't allow you to read your SMS, because again, it doesn't know that I am the owner of the phone and I want to read my own SMS. So the protection is there for app developers and the iOS users. So iOS wants to protect its users' data and the privacy, so apps do not read it, like there are no bad actors reading the SMSs, right? But in this case, I want to read my own SMS. So how do I do this? Now, I thought about it a lot, and one of the easiest solution was to get an Android phone, but I didn't want to go that way just for this app, not right now. So what I did instead is I looked up and I realized that when SMS comes, there must be some sort of like a webhook or an event that I can plug into, even though I cannot read the SMS directly, but maybe iOS provides some sort of way to act upon that notification. And there is something called shortcuts and automations in iOS. So this is the app icon that you may have seen. So what it does is it provides you a lot of capabilities as a iOS user to do actions on certain events. For example, you reach your home, your location changes, or you listen to SMSs, for example, in this case. Or you could be doing something else, right? So it provides all these things. Maybe on a timer you want to do something, you want to schedule something like a cron job. So yeah, so it does all of that. Now the good thing is iOS does allow you to run shortcuts on SMS, at least till now they do. So because SMS and operating system, they know each about each other, we can put shortcuts in between. So now what will happen is every time there is a SMS, iOS shortcut will run, and the shortcut, I don't know what can the shortcut do. We'll get back to it. But the current pattern is, whenever there is an SMS, we'll run a shortcut and iOS will do whatever it wants to do with the SMS. But in between, we also have a hook sort of. So I thought about it a lot, and I was wondering what I could do with this data. And I think the easiest solution is to create a local file. So firstly, I thought of creating a database locally, and then another app can read it. But again, apps are sandboxed in iOS, so you cannot just create another app and read the data that is written by a different app, right? You need permissions for that sort of thing. And again, the apps thing is a whole box that I do not want to open, right? It's another Pandora's box. I don't want to open it right now. So what I did instead is, whenever there is a SMS, I just listen for it. I just write the data to a file. It's a simple text file, like in the storage there is a file in my device. It's called a simple text file, and I just append it. So it's like a append only log. So a new SMS, append it. So it just keeps writing. Now I do set a filter. So in the Shortcuts app, you can set a filter onto what SMS or like what sort of text you want to filter based on. And in my case, I just listen for any SMSs that have like a rupee symbol. Rupee is the currency in India, so a rupee symbol or a dollar symbol or a USD or a euro, whatever, right? So bunch of things I have hard coded in that shortcut, and it's just symbols of different currencies. And once that happens, it just hard codes at what time the text was received, what is the content of the text. And now I have this data, but again, I do not have a way to read it. I'm not going to go through this log every day and figure out what the values are. Now we need a way to read this again. So one thing that again came in my mind is shortcuts. So shortcuts have, as I told you, it also has, so shortcuts also have a way to trigger events on a particular time. And shortcuts also have a way to contact HTTP make HTTP requests. So it can actually talk to a server. If I have a server, it can talk to it and make a post request, right? So what I did again is if I can make another arrow. So I made a simple micro VM, and I'll get to why I made a micro VM. And I put a shortcut in between here. If I can move it up, I have a shortcut that runs once a day. It runs, I think, 9 a.m. in the morning. And what it does is it takes whatever the content of the file is, it encodes it, it makes it a form data, and then it makes a request to the simple HTTP server I have. And because I need some sort of security, so I do have a secret token appended to it. So I know only my shortcut is calling my API, but it just sends the file to the micro VM. And what the micro VM does is basically passes through the transactions, and it sees, okay, what was the last transaction I passed, because obviously the append only log will keep getting larger and larger. So I do not want to process all the 1,000 transactions that I have already processed. So what it does is it goes through and finds the last transaction that I have processed, and then it just filters it down based on that. And then all the transactions are anonymized. So because I want to pass through this data, I do not want to give it to OpenAI or any of the other models. So I don't know if they use it or they need my personal information, but I anyways anonymize it. So I replace all the card numbers, I replace all my name, all the names of my non-people, whatever. So I just replace all of these with anonymous identifiers. And then I make a LLM call, simple LLM call. It parses the data down. It makes it a very nice JSON data that I can just write into my SQLite that I can read. So the reason why I use a micro VM and not something like a serverless function is because I felt using a Postgres database or any other hosted database is an overkill for this app. You do not want to keep or waste resources in that manner. So this micro VM is on a platform that allows it to sleep. So it doesn't cost me any money when I'm not using it. So it is only used like once a day. And then it goes back to sleep. Similarly, SQLite doesn't need anything to keep it running. It's just a file in the system, and it just stays there, right? Now, this is all the talking, and then once the data is there, I can process it in all the manners that I want. So this data is here, I want to process it, and I can do whatever I want. It's a personalized app. Yeah, so this is my app. And this is what the data is. It's C data, so it's not the live data because I'm running it locally, and I'm running it with portless. So you can see it has given it a fancy domain, and it runs all locally. So yeah, this has all the data that I was talking to you about. It has it represented in a manner that I like. So it's currently sorted only for the current financial year, and I can also sort it out however I like. It has all the categories, all the recent spends. I can also see the stats. So I can see, okay, this is much money I spent. These are the banks that I spent them on. These are the cards that I used. These are the categories that I used. So this is how I do all of this. and it's all client-side app, so it's not anything on the server. It's just a simple classic a static app, single page app with the progressive web app, so it can feel and look like a traditional app on my phone, and that's why I used a single page app with progressive web enhancements. So yeah, this is simple UI. I have been following animations course, so I have added like some transitions to it. It looks nice, and then yeah, that's a very basic simple app for me. And the goal of the video is not this app. The server is off, by the way. So the goal is that you can sometimes solve problems that seem blocked, and you can find unorthodox ways to do it. You can do it untraditionally. So yeah, that's what the video was about. And this app is very small piece of what you can build in a personalized manner. We have all sort of agents now. You can use V0, you can use Claude, you can use Codex, whatever, right? And you can make these apps. So yeah, all the best. Do let me know what sort of unorthodox apps or ideas that you are making, and I would love to see how you put together a bunch of pieces and made it work your way. So yeah, see you.